Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Ujirayet. Before reciting Srimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagvatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagvatam, and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Granth Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, What Prahlad Learned in the Womb. In the last few verses, we were reading that how Prahlad Maharaj is emphasizing about the faith in the words of the spiritual master, faith in the words of Guru Parampara. That will lead us to success. That will lead to Krishna Prem. That is a real success. So let's see what he is speaking next to the students who are his classmates. Text number 18. Janmadhyaha shadime bhava drishta dehasya natmanah phalanam ivan vrikshasya kaleneshvara murtinam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Just as the fruits and flowers of a tree in due course of time undergo 6 changes: birth, existence, growth, transformation, dwindling, and then death, the material body, which is obtained by the spirit soul under different circumstances, undergoes similar changes. However, there are no such changes for the spirit soul. Purport. This is a very important verse in understanding the difference between the spirit soul and the material body. The soul is eternal, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 2.20, Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is never birth nor death. Not having once been, does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. The spirit soul is eternal, being freed from waste and change, which take place because of the material body. The example of a tree and its fruits and flowers is very simple and clear. A tree stands for many, many years, but with the seasonal changes, its fruits and flowers undergo 6 transformations. The foolish theory of modern chemists that life can be produced by chemical interactions cannot be accepted as truth. The birth of a human being's material body takes place due to a mixture of the ovum and the semen, but the history of the birth is that although the ovum and the semen mix together after sex, there is not always pregnancy. Unless the soul enters the mixture, there is no possibility of pregnancy. But when the soul takes shelter of the mixture the body takes birth, exists, grows, transforms, dwindles, and ultimately it is vanquished. The fruits and flowers of a tree seasonally come and go, but the tree continues to stand. Similarly, the transmigrating soul accepts various bodies, which undergo 6 transformations, but the soul remains permanently the same. Ajo nityaha shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul is eternal and ever existing, but the bodies accepted by the soul are changing. So I'll stop here. Prahlad Maharaj is explaining the science of the soul and the body, which is one of the main topics of Bhagavad Gita. Out of the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita, one is Atma. Krishna explains this topic in about 15 verses in Bhagavad Gita, starting from 2.10-ish, 10, 12 onwards, up till 29 or so. So there are about 15 plus verses, because it is so important. And it's in the chapter 2 where Krishna is trying to answer the questions of Arjuna or the doubts. That's how there are multiple verses. Soul changes the bodies as person changes garments. One who is born will die, but the soul will not die. The soul cannot be burned by fire, cannot be dried by air. Multiple points are mentioned. The body is, we all know how our body is changing. 10 years back, what I looked like, I don't look like the same. 20 years back, how I looked, I certainly don't look the same. 30 years back, how I looked, I don't look that same. So the body is changing, but I still identify myself as the same person. Body is changing actually after every 7 years. All the cells, even the brain cells, have changed. So people who say reincarnation, actually we are reincarnating within this body. Kar means flesh. The word carnivorous, the one who eat flesh. So kar means flesh. Re means again, repeat, redo, all this. Re means again. Reincarnate means to take the body or the flesh again. So we are reincarnating because our flesh is changing. All the cells of the body are changing. And this transformation is happening, the 6 changes, which Prabhupada also explains in Bhagavad Gita. So the 6 changes are, first of all, there is birth. Then we exist, the youth phase, and then the body grows into adulthood. Then there is transformation, that is offsprings, children are born, family, etc. Then after that the body is dwindling, degrading, so many diseases come with old age. So that's the old age. The senses capacity reduces. The eyes can't see, the ears can't hear, etc. And then finally the body dies. But the soul is eternal, Satchid Ananda. Soul doesn't go through all these changes. So Prahlad Maharaj is explaining this essential topic, which is explained multiple times in Bhagavad Gita, and which is the core of our Krishna conscious movement. That we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. And that is the foundational calculation of our life. If that calculation is correct, the following calculations, family, job, husband, wife, children, cities, home, car, all those calculations should be based on that I'm a spirit soul, I'm eternal servant of Krishna, I'm not this body, and I'm not the things in relation to body. So it's a very, very big topic, very, very deep topic, but we have to remind ourselves again so that we can really follow it, not just theoretically speak it. Easier said than done, but at least we repeat again and again so we can be reminded of our true nature, that is spirit soul. Okay, would someone like to read the rest of the purport who didn't get a chance yesterday?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can read. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. There are 2 kinds of soul. The Supreme Soul, the Personality of Godhead, and the individual soul, the living entity. As various bodily changes take place in the individual soul, different millennium of creation take place in the Supreme Soul. In this regard, Madhvacharya says, Sad vikara sharirasya na vishnustad gatasya cha tad adhinam shariram cha gatsa tan mamatam tajat. Since the body is the external feature of the soul is not dependent on the body. Rather, the body is dependent on the soul. One who understands this truth should not be very much anxious about the maintenance of his body. There is no possibility of maintaining the body permanently or eternally. Ananta banta ime deha nitya shakta shurina. This is the statement of Bhagavad Gita 2.18. The material body is antabat, perishable, but the soul within the body is eternal, nitya shakta shurina. The Lord Vishnu and the individual souls who are part and parcel of him are both eternal. Nitya, nityanam, chetana, chetanam. Lord Vishnu is a chief living being, whereas the individual entities are parts of the Lord Vishnu. All the various jets of bodies, from the gigantic universal body to the small body of an ant, are perishable. But the supersoul and the soul, being equally in quantity, both exist eternally. This is further explained in the next verses. So, Prabhupada nicely mentioned about the permanent nature of the soul and impermanent nature of the body. As we die, right after that, we are taken out of the house and get ready for going to the cremation. So when soul leaves the body, there is no value of this body. He started decaying right after that. So it proves that the body is dependent on the soul, but soul does not. And this soul, each and every living entity soul, is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu. And that's why it is permanent, like Lord Vishnu. It doesn't matter how big the body is, small ant to gigantic animal, all are perishable. So there is no point of getting anxious for the maintenance of this body. Sometimes, especially me, sometimes came across that, because I'm a short person, that, oh, you're a vegetarian, getting short, your kids getting shorter, will be short like this. So I tell them sometimes that yes, I'm a short person, but at the end of the day, when die, will be taken to the cremation or buried by 4 people, same I'll be taken by the 4 people. You cannot walk to your grave because you have a big body, so it is perishable. So body doesn't make any difference to a person. It's the soul, this is the nature of the person that makes the difference actually in this material world, and people remember them. And big body actually needed to harm someone. But if we want to do some good to others, our intention, our consciousness of the soul is important. And with love and consciousness, everything can be conquered, not by the body. Back to Prabhuji. Very well.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very nice. Any other comments or questions anyone has?
Hare Krishna, this is Bhadra. Dandavat everybody. We can see from the example of Hiranyakashipu, isn't it? Hiranyakashipu performed whole his austerity, and his body was completely finished, but the soul was still there. So this, by his example, we can see itself. It's a live example of him. That the whole body had gone through, finished, but the soul was there. That's one. So we're gonna go for next 10 verses. This is gonna be, we're going to learn more about this. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Yeah. See, Prabhupada mentioning here, the soul is not dependent on the body, rather the body is dependent on the soul. Isn't that is the mutually exclusive? Because, see, my being alive, we know that the soul is there, exists. Because we are bodily existent because of our consciousness. Similarly, like trees also, growing tree, seasonally changing, coming flower, going. So we know that is like the existence of the soul is there. So isn't that the soul is also needs some kind of a mechanism, like as a body, to identify that that's the soul. Otherwise, soul without body, we called as a ghost. So, when Prabhupada is saying here that this one is only dependent on the soul and not on the body, so I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. When you have to go from place A to place B and you use a car, you can use a bus, you can use a rail, you can use a other way. So is the vehicle dependent on you, or how do I say? When the body dies, the soul takes a new body. And we have also heard in the scriptures, the great yogis out of
So did you go on mute?
Haribol. We cannot hear.
Sorry, someone called me and this app gets disconnected. So the point I was making was that when the body dies, His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj was making a point. He said to the extent that, you know, the office people may be paying you, but are they paying you the body or the soul? Actually, if the body is dead, will they still continue to pay? They will not pay. So the root cause which is running the body is the soul. Without soul, you said consciousness, but what? Consciousness is the symptom of soul. The soul is present, the body is conscious. I was talking about the out-of-body experience. Great yogis, we have heard that they would, you know, travel in outer space, and with their subtle body, their material body, their gross body would be here, and they can travel into other bodies. So the driver is one who is governing more. Yes, the driver needs a medium, but the more important, or much more important, is the soul. Now, as you said, that doesn't mean we ignore the body or we stop eating or stop sleeping, etc. You understand? Yes, the body is given by the Supreme Lord for a certain purpose. This Manushya Deha, Durlabha Manusha Deha, Dehinam Shan Bhangurai. This is very, very durlabh. We have attained this human form of life. We have attained this human body. This soul has attained this human body, which is very rare. So I must use it properly by not abusing it, or ignoring the bodily needs, as long as I'm not a Paramhamsa, they are aloof from this bodily consciousness and bodily. They are just completely spiritual. Their body is also transcendental, actually. But to your point, yes, we have to keep that context that yes, soul is always much higher in our priority, and body has to be kept for that purpose. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj Prabhupada is saying that actually one should not worry much about bodily maintenance, which is truth in one way. That doesn't mean we become irresponsible, because we are not at that level like Rishabh Dev, Ajgar Vritti, whatever comes to our mouth I'll eat, if it doesn't come I won't eat. So artificially imitating those may not be a good idea. But at the same time, being too much concerned, oh, when will I get happy, when will I get new job, when will I get this, when will I get new car, these are all bodily things. Being over concerned is actually not good either, because we have already learned what Prahlad Maharaj said, this is Daivam Labhyate, one attains by Daiva. It's already fixed. What kind of disease one will get, what kind of happiness one will get. No one wants disease, you still get. Does anyone want disease? No one. So a nice healthy balance for a sadhaka is required. Does that touch your point?
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Can I add one more point in that?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Thank you. Dhanwad, everybody's. The soul is individual, and soul had a desire. So soul's characteristic is the consciousness. So when soul had a desire, the Lord gave you that body. So the consciousness is contaminated. So when the consciousness is contaminated, we are thinking that soul is dependent on the body of whatever we do. That is in a contaminated stage. But when the soul is acquiring its consciousness, pure consciousness, then the body as an instrument is not dependent on the soul. Dependent on the soul, you see. So that's what here he is saying, Srila Prabhupada is saying, that the soul is aloof from the body. Soul is not dependent on the body. But in the contaminated stage, because soul is covered, because we are minute 1/10,000th tip of a hair, the soul consciousness is contaminated. So we are thinking that the soul is depending. There is a mutual agreement. Yeah, there is a mutual agreement because it is in contaminated state. But when it's uncontaminated, when the soul is purified by the Krishna consciousness, then the soul is not, and the body is actually following the soul. Soul is going to follow. Body is going to actually follow the mind, intelligence, ego. They will follow the instruction of the soul. And right now, because my mind is contaminated, and I have false ego, the soul is giving me instruction, but I am not willing to listen. That's what here Srila Prabhupada is mentioning the purport. That's the point. I hope that makes.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Let's read the next two verses. Would someone like to start?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, one small question, Prabhuji. So, can I ask, Prabhuji?
Yes, please. Your voice is little
Hear me?
stretching, but please, we can hear.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Prabhuji, so what Bhadra Prabhu said, so for the materialistic people, is it, saying like the soul is kind of stuck in this body? But for the, pure souls, it is not like that. So my intention is like, if that is the case, like, if we are deceased or whatever, right, and we know that, we are suffering and we don't want to suffer anymore. So can we, as a soul, can we decide to leave the body? And if so, like, I have seen in some cases, they medically they arrange, for the body to be terminated.
Your voice is breaking down. We cannot hear clearly. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. I'll ask you later.
No, go ahead. I mean, it's a good question. It's nice to discuss. It's a good point.
So I think the question Sudeep Prabhu was asking is, in some cases when the body is going through a very difficult situation, like someone is in coma or someone is just bedridden, can they just they choose to do so and let the body die? Is that your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. So, yeah, for materialistic people, I heard that Prabhuji said, the soul is kind of stuck in the body. So, and that was my question, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Brother Prabhu, you want to answer
that? Thank you. It's a question. Well, it's like a Srila Prabhupada used to say that using the bad bargain. What does it say? Srila Prabhupada used to say.
Best use of the bad bargain.
Best is the bad bargain. We all are stuck in this body. We wanted to, isn't it? We are stuck. But we are so fortunate that we came to Krishna consciousness. We know who we are, and we come to that. We gradually, by following Krishna consciousness, hopefully I will come to realize that I am a spirit soul. I am not this body. Now, in case of if I go in the coma, let's say I go in the coma. Let's forget about the materialistic. I go in the coma, and if I am long time in the coma, I mean, of course, I would not want to continue in the coma, because I know in the present situation, doctors will want to make a lot of money out of me by keeping me in the coma. There were cases in the United States. One girl in Pennsylvania or somewhere, she was kept on the breathing machine for so many days. I don't know how many days. The doctors would know. I remember in the 15, 20 years ago, so many days they kept on the oxygen machines and things like that. For what? You see, because in the coma, it's going through so much trouble, so much painful situation. Yamaraj is deciding where to take this body, where to take this soul during that coma time. But that is different situation for the devotee. Now we have to understand a different situation for the devotees. We have to differentiate here. In the material life, the people who are doing the sinful activities, when they are going the coma, Yamaraj is deciding where do I have to take this guy or her, where to take. But as far as devotee is concerned, and devotee is when in the coma, then there is no question of Yamaraj coming there. Because the devotee has performed devotional service all his life. Whatever he has chanted, he has done devotional service. So he's going through coma, but Krishna is going to take care of him. He's going through some process, but Krishna is going to take him to the higher level, or born in a devotee family or whatever. So that's what I have learned, and that's what I have read from the scripture. So we all are stuck, but and it can happen. Believe me, devotees also go through the coma. We have seen devotees go through the machine and things like that. But God is
Prabhuji,
good.
if not in the coma, like if the
Yes.
if not in the coma, but the person is suffering and he is like hospital medication, lot of pain, and we have seen that medically, in some countries they allow you to take your own life, or whatever that is called. So is that
You mean pull the plug? Pull
yes,
the plug.
pull the plug. Yeah, I think that's what they call. Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to do it, isn't it? That's why we write a will. I tell you, we all should write a will, and this is good subject to discuss, because we all should have a will. Because in United States, particularly United States, and I haven't done it, and I should do it, because if in case I go in the coma or something, doctors are gonna make their own decision, and they will continue to. We have 2 or 3 doctors in this discussion, so I'm not committing offenses at their feet, but please pardon me, but it's reality. They will wanna make the money out of you. So you have to assign someone. We have to assign someone, or family members, or some devotee whom we trust, to please make the decision for me. And if I'm in that situation, make the decision, and bring me home, and let be around me devotees who will keep continue chanting Hare Krishna, so that at least I will have better. I will go back wherever in some other places. I hope that answers your question. Is that?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thanks, Prabhuji.
Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. So some of the points you said are very correct. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
What can you do? You don't want to prolong your life, because soul is suffering, isn't it? In the coma, actually, soul is suffering. And Yamraj has to make the decision. Soul is hovering to get out from that body. But soul, at the same time, the soul is so attached to that body that is stuck. I'm sorry, I'm taking a long time. My sister's husband, last year or year before, they lived in Pennsylvania in the temple, the new Brushdown. They lived for the last 30 years, and he fell down, and then the doctor told that he's gonna live in 24 or 36 hours. So they called me and they said, "Uncle, please come now. Our father is gonna leave." So I went there, and he was unconscious. And it lasted for a week. But the good thing about was that they were in temple, and I was there. My job, my time was every day in the morning, early morning, from 2 o'clock until 8 or 9 o'clock. I am there. I'm reading. I'm chanting. I'm talking to him, and I can feel his. When I touch his hand, I could feel and he would press my hand, and I could feel him. He's listening. But then the time came. Then I had to tell. Now you'll have to go, because you are suffering this. And then I had to tell my sister to tell him that, please don't worry about me. My sister had to tell him, don't worry about him. Don't worry about me. Your sons are here. They will take care of you, take care of me, don't worry. I had to tell my sister to tell him. You see? So, and finally time came, his breathing stopped, and he left. It was auspiciously. It was auspicious. So this is what happens in the devotees' lives. See? I hope that helps more to understand. I hope
Yes,
so.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah. Very clear, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. This question has been asked multiple times, actually. Since that answer was little different, so we'll keep that for some other time. But I would just say that everyone's time, place, situation is different. So based on one's time, place, and situation, one should take specific guidance from one's Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, senior Vaishnavas, etc. So there is no like one size fits all kind of thing in specifically when we talk about personal situations. Every situation is totally different. And what I heard in that answer, that it may seem like the body is suffering. Yes, the body is going through pain. Certainly it's going through pain. But whatever the quota of pain one has to undergo. By thinking I will reduce the amount of pain I had to undergo is actually, that controllership mentality. So it may seem that apparently that person is not going through pain by plugging the plug out. But would the family members or genuine well-wishers be happy if that person who is receiving one's quota of whatever was left for a better destination, would that be appreciated, or rather one has to suffer more? Yes, they're not seeing it because the soul has taken maybe some other body, and then he will suffer. Then the soul will take the other body because the quota was not complete. So again, as I said, everyone's situation is different. The city rules, country rules, government rules, one's financial situation, a lot of factors are there in this decision. So one must carefully, one's spiritual, lot of things are there. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, that's what in fact my younger brother was also telling when my father was suffering. So he told that he was consoling my mother that he has to go through this pain now, so that after he leaves his body, his suffering, maybe there would have been more suffering, but now he is going through that now itself, so that he doesn't need to go through that suffering after his transition. So that was one of the point. Thanks for clarifying.
My point is not to pull the plug just like that. My point is that if the soul is in coma for 10, 15, 20, 30 days, 40 days, follow? That's my point is. Of course,
yes, understood.
We are not here to tell what person go in the coma. Yesterday, devotee in the young boy in London, he stayed whole time in Vrindavan. He was in Gurukul. He got into accident. He was driving a bicycle and he got into a heavy accident. And his brain he's in coma right now. I don't know what situation is at present. He's in hospital. We were praying last night for him because he is a friend of our sons and daughters. We are praying for him. Everybody's praying for him, and hopefully he will come out of it. So it's not. The point is not to pull the plug just like that. But if it's going to prolong longer time, then someone has to make some decision. That's my point is.
Yes, Prabhuji, I agree. In fact, I was thinking like that, I mean, we should pray to Krishna so that, of course,
Yes.
even that would be a materialistic desire, not to suffer. If, as you said, if there is a suffering, we have to be there, and if we should pray to Krishna that we should not get that,
Right.
such kind, and leave this body as easy as possible. Of course,
And Krishna
nothing is in our hand, but
and Krishna will hear our prayers, because we are well-wisher of our parents, our sister, our brother. We are well-wisher of them, isn't it? So we pray. I hope my 2 cents. Yeah, thank you.
I just want to add one point from the materialistic aspect. Like here in America, actually, there is a called ethical team in every hospital. When this situation comes, they come in the scene and they take control, and they go by doctors' results, family wishes. So it is not the one factor, as the Suresh Prabhuji said. I'm not talking about spirituality, only just what happens here, that ethical teams take the decision, and that as per the doctor's opinion and the family wishes, and that thing goes ahead. So it is not like profiting or non-profiting. Those things doesn't work, at least in America. Horrible.
Thank you. I hope that happens. Believe me, it has not happened in the past. There was a case in Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, the young girl was suffering for so many days. So what I'm saying is that ultimately there should be some kind of will. That is called the will. Anyhow, you all know. You all doctors all know, where we are assigning someone from our family members, our friends, whomever you are trusting, we are giving them to make the final decision. Because I'm in coma, I have to have someone to make the decision for me, and that person is going to make the decision, that to tell the doctor, this is what I want. This is what I want for this person. That's what my point is.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Anything else before we kind of stop for today?
sorry for taking so much time, Prabhuji. I did not.
Oh no, Prabhu. This is as I said, always our goal is not to complete Bhagavatam. Our goal is to relish Bhagavatam and to discuss in a very comfortable family atmosphere, and everything. There's no question is a wrong question, and please never feel so.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Nandini Mataji, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'll just add a couple of quick points. So going back to the original sentence that the soul is not dependent on the body. So main point I think Prabhupada is conveying that once the body goes back to Godhead, once the soul goes back to Godhead, there's no material body that gets carried away with it. It's we are a spiritual body that is completely different than the topic we are discussing here. So in that sense, soul is completely independent, in no need of the body there. Also, it's like you go in your closet. There are so many dresses that you have bought. You can just wear any one. The dresses are dependent, being used on you, but it's not the other way around. You can discard all your clothes and just buy a new closet tomorrow. So but you will remain the same. The soul will always remain, but the bodies, they will perish and they will come back and forth. And then when Prabhupada was asked this question about Jain people, they have Santara, which is they can end their life when they're extremely old. Prabhupada has commented something on it, and I'll find it. In few other places, Prabhupada spoke this very eloquent philosophy. Prabhupada said that obviously every sentence of his was eloquent philosophy. Prabhupada said that there are two kinds of suicide. There is one material suicide and there's a spiritual suicide. He said material suicide is at least okay, but spiritual suicide, when a soul wants to merge in Krishna, that is very dangerous, Prabhupada said. And technology, using too much of technology is also, and stopping our sadhana is also spiritual suicide, he said. So that is more dangerous. I hope this helps, Sudhir Prabhu. So most important thing is pain, no pain, when to end life. But as far as the soul was hearing Krishna consciousness and was surrounded by devotees and chanting, at least as per what Mani quotes I'm reading, Prabhupada will be very happy with that outcome, and it will be to please Krishna. Even the gopis think of committing suicide when they think that they cannot please Krishna for more, as much as they want to. And Prabhupada has also quoted something really nice about that. And we also know that gopis, they would give up, they would suffer eternity in hell just to reduce pain for Krishna. So life is relatively very insignificant when it comes to our devotional service. We can continue life after life. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so we will stop here and continue tomorrow with the next verse. Grantraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavind ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.